I'm heading north again towards Aviemore, and we're about to go over To Pass. I'm going to Aviemore's Strathspey Railway for a DMU Diesel Multiple Unit day out. It's February 2012. Plenty of snow in the mountains, but for this time of year it's been extremely mild. We're looking across at the Cairngorm Mountains and the Aviemore Ski Centre. The wind currently is blowing from the north, and by jings it's chilly. Now there's a familiar view, Aviemore Station looking north. Travelling on the Strathspey Railway this time, we're not travelling by steam. We're going to go back to the 1960s, the 70s, the 80s. At the time, it seemed these trains would last forever. A diesel multiple unit. I remember as a young boy, travelling behind the driver of a diesel multiple unit between Carnoustie, which is near Dundee, and Arbroath. It was the highlight of my holiday, and I was fascinated. Not realising that years and years later I would end up teaching drivers to drive these trains on the route between Glasgow and Ayr before it was electrified. We're on the move now, heading towards Boat of Garton. And isn't it nice to see the driver's view of the track ahead and watch the driver drive the train? Something certainly from the past. One thing I can say about a diesel multiple unit, it was the most difficult train to drive because it had gears. Locomotives don't have gears. Well, they have a type of gear, but it's like automatic. But a multiple unit train had 4 gears, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And as you can see, currently the driver is applying the brake. Now, a multiple unit train is vacuum braked, and its brake handle, which he is using at the present time, has got 3 positions. Release, where it is currently, then it's got a hold position, and obviously an apply position. Now, vacuum brake runs with release at 21 inches, and as you destroy the vacuum gradually, the brakes apply. It's as simple as that. Now, those of you watching may have noticed that the signal for coming in the opposite direction is in the clear position. But we don't have to worry, because currently we're running like a one train system where the driver has got a token, and there is only one train running between Aviemore and Broomhill and back, so we don't need to worry about a train coming in the opposite direction. And all the signal boxes are what's called switched out, so they leave all their main signals in the clear position. We're now arriving into Boat of Garton. You see that wheel in the picture? I don't know how many times when I was involved in DMUs, its passengers used to ask me, is that a steering wheel? At times I was tempted to say yes, but today, madam, we're just on autopilot. It's not a steering wheel, it's a parking brake wheel, which is used when the train is stabled. During the film today, I'll give you some technical details. For example, the signal we're looking at the end of the platform is known as a coacting signal. It's got 2 stop signals on the same post, the lower signal and the upper signal. Simply, it's to do with driver viewing distances. The Strathspey Railway run their diesel multiple units in February. This is the first day in February 2012. The multiple unit runs for about a month, and then in April they start with steam. All the trains on the Strathspey Railway stop at the stations for approximately 15 minutes. Here at Boat of Garton you can go into their bookshop. Sometimes you can get a cup of coffee in there. Or what you could do is just sit in one of the old railway benches, thinking and looking at the nostalgic of the old trains. and listen to the railway staff talking about the good old days of the railways. Here at Botecarton, this is the main area for storage for the Strathspey Railway. They have some workshops at Aviemore, but here at Botecarton, this is the main storage area. You have time either on your way to Broomhill or on your way back to have a wander around and look at the wagons and the particular type of rolling stock they have. At the end of the film, on the credits, I'll give you a link to the Strathspey Railway's website, which will give you the timetable and what type of traction will haul the trains over the 2012 period. I'm getting a bit chilly now with all this filming outside, so let's get on board, back into the warmth of my diesel multiple units, and head north towards Broomhill. So, all aboard! We're now arriving into Broomhill Station, and for us, this is the end of the line. But don't forget that the Strathspey Railway hope to extend the line up to Granton and Spey at some point. This used to be the main line between Aviemore and Inverness. Trains would travel up to Forest and then join the main line between Aberdeen and Inverness. When you arrive into Broomhill Station, you'll see a sign saying Glen Bogle. This was the setting for the railway station on the highly successful television programme The Monarch of the Glen. After a nice cup of coffee in the tea room, which I think they shouldn't sell coffee in tea rooms, tea only please. Anyway, we're on the way back to Aviemore, and this time I'm going to be quiet, as I'm sitting in the seat behind the second man side. I'm going to have a nice cab ride, but not quite in the cab, if you know what I mean, going back towards Aviemore. now arriving back into Boat of Garton, and the signals you see belong to Boat of Garton signal box. It's the home signals, and they're route semaphore signals. The signal on the left-hand side, which is at danger, and the signal on the right-hand side, which is clear, is now telling the driver he's going into the right-hand platform. If the signal on the left-hand had been cleared, then he would have been going into the left-hand platform. As I mentioned earlier, a diesel multiple unit is not the easiest train to drive, nor was it the easiest train to teach, as back then we went into far too much detail for the drivers. But looking at the controls, the handle on the left-hand side is the driver's throttle. Push that handle down and that controls the driver's safety device. If for any reason he lets go of that lever, the brakes will apply. Some people used to call that the dead man. Modern trains have such a system, but it's a pedal on the floor, which is kept depressed with the driver's foot. The lever in the centre of the screen is the gear lever. Select that forward for first gear. And the big valve in the middle of the screen is the brake valve handle for applying the brake. And what looks like a steering wheel, as we said, is not a steering wheel. You turn that handle round and that applies the parking brake when the train is stabled. We're now leaving Boat of Garton and heading back towards Aviemore. So sit back and enjoy the driver's view of the line ahead. And if I think there's any technical things you would like to know, any line side features that I find interesting, I shall let you know during the journey. you can see on the left-hand side of the track that we're coming up to a boards, a yellow square with the number 10, plus a rectangle board with 2 horizontal white dots. This is a temporary speed restriction. It's warning the driver that he's coming up to a 10 miles an hour temporary speed restriction, so he must bring the speed of the train down to 10 miles an hour by the time he reaches the commencement board. We've now arrived at the commencement board of 10 miles an hour, so the speed of the train should be at that speed by this board. But how does a driver know when he's no longer on his temporary speed restriction? Well, further round the corner there'll be another yellow board with the letter T, which stands for termination. And once the complete train has passed this board, the driver can bring the speed of the train back up to line speed. You can see the termination board on the right hand side of the track, and the reason it's on the right hand side is because we're on a single line. The other side of that board will have the number 10. The sign on the left-hand side is telling the driver he's now approaching an open level crossing. This white board with a black cross. Now, what do we mean by an open level crossing? Well, it's simple. It's open. There are no barriers or gates. The indication for pedestrians and traffic users is simply two red lights flashing, telling them to stop as a train is approaching, plus an audible indication. The next sign we see, W stands for whistle. Either use the horn or blow the whistle. And the 15 stands for 15 miles an hour. The next indication a driver's looking for is a white light flashing. And that's indicating to the driver that their crossing is working correctly and he can proceed. But still blow the horn. Thank you. I would like to thank the Strathspey Railway in the way they keep this old diesel multiple unit treasure alive. It's quite a feat of engineering to keep such an old beast going, and some people would say the same about me. The Strathspey Railway is now opened all summer. They'll start steam soon, and if you want to see some of the steam engines on one of my sites, there is a Strathspey Steam Day out. If you want to see this DMU during the summer months, it's normally stabled at the Bolton Garden. And at the end of the film, I'll put the website address up so that you can check out the timetable for the Strathspey Railway and all the things they're up to over the summer of 2012. I hope you've enjoyed this DMU day out on the Strathspey Railway. I'm going to catch my train back home now, and until the next time, goodbye.